Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Monoxide Podcast. I'm your host, Harris, a.k.a. Monoxide, man of many automotive aspirations, and I am here with my co-host, Dan. I can't reveal too many secrets about today, but some cool stuff under the works, Mr. Got a Garage.
Yeah. Keep that under wraps.
He's legally not allowed to disclose anything. But anyways, today we are here at ORE Off-Road.
O-R-E Off-Road, yep.
Okay, is it O-R-E or ORE?
O-R-E.
It's going to be
Honestly, whatever you want it to be.
That's
the three letters.
And we are here with Kurt Thomas, who's a co-founder and vice president. Did I nail that?
Correct, yep.
We are here today to kind of just talk, honestly, about a lot of the cool stuff you've done over the years. You used to do a lot of drifting, and now you've done a total 180, and you're like, all right, I'm going to go up rocks and stuff.
Go real slow and up rocks, yeah.
Yeah, like we were just talking before we started this episode that you were entering corners at, 140 wheel speed or something?
Yeah, no, I used to hit like some corners in the drift car. You enter at over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. All right, what's the top speed you'll do off-roading in one of these bad boys?
6. She's real slow. It goes half a mile an hour in first gear when it's all in low range and everything. So
before we get to obviously the off-roading portion, which I'm sure most people are clicking on to listen about that, give us a little bit of a background of how you kind of got into, I guess, building cool cars. Well, maybe it was the drifting at first, or was there something before that?
Yeah, I actually started at MAP when I was 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was 19, started in the warehouse. Matthew Cornier, I don't know if you know Matt from DRSC. Yeah, so his cousin got me a job in shipping there, and I started hanging out with Max Odegaard and all the dudes in the shop. And basically, you'd sit out there all weekend, and everyone's just bouncing ideas. It was a super creative space. Everyone was uplifting, bringing everyone around, and we built just cool stuff. I actually started my first car that I built at MAP was a turbo Accord that I got for free, that I put a DSM turbo kit on, and it made 300 horsepower. And then that quickly spiraled into the E36, which we'll get into the E36 stuff, but that car took everything I had. I mean, that cost a lot of my life.
The E36?
Yeah. That car was my blood, sweat, and tears for 5 years. I ran a dedicated race program, and it brought me on some crazy adventures. So.
What's cheaper, divorce or cars?
Well,
actually, I guess you can't speak to that. But
yeah, I guess I don't know.
The reason it comes to mind is I keep seeing this Tyrese thing in my Facebook. Facebook's so weird, man. But the guy from Fast and Furious, apparently he just went through something that lost 50% of everything.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that's why that came to mind. But tell us a little bit about the drifting side, because you were competing as well, right?
Yeah, so that car, it's gone through several variations. The first time I built it, it was just a 5.3 swap with, I actually had a Polaris slingshot transmission, an AR5, that I did some side work for another company who got those transmissions. But yeah, it was a very simple, nice car. And then, I was telling you guys before that we started the podcast here that I actually rolled it on my first day. Landed on the roof, it dug in, it was springtime. We were doing, Austin Matta used to host this event called Don't Matta Drift Bash.
Okay.
And on the chicane at BIR, came through and just got caught sideways, dug into the soft ground, hit the pea gravel, and landed on its roof. And ever since then, and it's always been the case with anything I build, is when I put a ding in something, it's game on. I no longer care about the aesthetic value of it, especially I rolled it. It was a mint white E36 coupe, mint. I did a beautiful swap on it, and I rolled it, and then I was like, I'm going to do competition. And that car since, it got a 418 dry sump LS. So we put together as an old truck block. Wiseco K1 sponsored me. We ended up doing a full 13.5 to 1 stroker in it. Made 550 wheel NA.
Wow.
Did a dog box, quick change. Yeah. Cut the whole back of the car off. I hit the wall with it. That car's been totaled 3 times. Totaled, bent frame, and you just cut further back and tube it out. And yeah, it just took me on this crazy adventure. Drove around the country, chasing these big shootouts. We were doing, me and my friend Matt Nelson, my friend Jess Burns, we would travel and go do these shootouts in Indiana, and went to Colorado. I did Gridlife, the Alpine Horizon Fest out there with some pretty cool names. And yeah, just tore it up for a while.
So we're most familiar with like Gridlife, right? Like that's just kind of like what a lot of our friends do around here. So you said, did you only do that one time, or did you do it several times? Or
I did one Gridlife. I
Okay.
got invited to Alpine Horizon Festival, which is the one at Pikes Peak International Raceway, and it was insane. Like,
So is that an invite only thing?
I applied, but then so some of my good pals from the drift world like put my name in there, like,
Yeah.
hey, dude, let this dude drive, and we had a real good time out there. Like drove, doing tandems, like hanging out with, or we did the grip drift sessions. I guess that was one of my favorite things about Gridlife. So they had all the road course cars out, and we would drift between them. So I'm like flying at like 80 miles an hour between two Honda Fits. It was pretty wild. I got to hang out with like, Rome Charpentier, the Formula Drift driver, like some good buddies of mine. And we got to just hang out, run doors all weekend. And they had all the live music out there. That makes Gridlife really cool too. So.
Well, it's kind of like the ultimate like car festival, kind of, right?
I honestly, like, I drove the last Alpine Horizon too, and it was a bummer to like know it was the last one, but it was one of the coolest things I've ever done. You wake up, like I slept in the back of my truck, and you like look out the window of my topper, and it's just like mountains with the sun coming up over the mountains. You jump in your race car and just go wide open all day long. Is fun.
That's got to be even cooler than what we did when we went to Pikes Peak for Venom Rally back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, you would start at the hotel. Why'd you say so sad? Like,
Well, it was my first track I'd ever been on. It's what got the itch.
I forgot how many ways I've ruined Dan financially.
Dude, like this is gonna be an expensive hobby now.
Yeah, no, that's when it started getting really fun for me, and like the stars aligned at some point. Like it just worked. What I was doing worked. I had a deal worked out, kind of like with time off and stuff like that. And I was repping my employer at the time, it's Twin Cities Performance. Like Carl had my back, and he wanted me to go pursue racing pretty hard. And I was bringing in some builds, some customers. We'd take customers out for rides,
Drift builds, right?
No, we didn't build drift cars there.
Okay.
But that car, like, you put a sticker on it, and like people like they're curious.
So the drift car was bringing in like normal builds.
I don't like drift cars. Drift cars they're oftentimes not the nicest vehicles that you'll see. Like that, they're 20-footers, Like you even see pro cars out on the grid, and you're like, oh, and on the live stream, the thing looks great. And you get up next to you, like, woof.
Well, hold on. What about these off-road cars though? Because they're probably 20-footers too in some regards, right?
Yeah. Like I love when people use their stuff.
Yeah, true.
To me, like it shows something about like your actual passion and depth into a sport is when you like kind of put aside worrying about what other people think about it and start just enjoying it. Like live to the full extent of what you're doing, and you'll have more fun every time.
That's 100. Well, like you said, like when you rolled it,
yeah,
it's like game on.
The first thing I said, I got out, I pulled myself under the door, and those were frameless doors. And I didn't think about it at the time. I'm upside down in my car, and I could have just opened the door and got out. I like clawed my way through the gravel, slid out, and I was like, man, I scratched a candy. And everyone's like, are you okay? I was like, I don't even care. I just had the best day I've ever had in my life. This is crazy. Had it running 7 days later. Like back to
I got
normal.
a free race car sort of deal. Because like it made a transition from sort of street car-ish, like, you could drive like
I used to drive
car.
it everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you stop taking it to shows then after that or no?
No, well, it was one of those things. I kind of lost my passion for the car, like show side of the world, just
We see
because
that
I
a
was
lot.
racing so much. Like, I'd pull up to Battle Creek in that thing, and like it's like it had a G-Force GSR 4-speed dog box, like that in fourth gear on the highway at 70 miles an hour is like 5,200 RPM. So it was like the car was completely useless. It was built to do one job. That was it. And that was to party hard on the track. But like it was fun to go out. I get invited to go park at places like Grip or Oil Steering Wheels. Mm-hmm. They invited me down to the Stupid Cold, it's called, in Memphis, which is a big car show down there they do in the middle of winter. And we towed it all the way there.
Yeah, but the middle of winter in Memphis is...
It snowed.
Yeah. Oh, it did really?
I towed it to Memphis and it snowed. And we were kicking it with like Dan from the Hoonigans and like those dudes like hanging out, party driving. I was like, I'm in the snow right now. And then we just park them up, for the crowd to come look at them. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't like go out of my way to bring it to car shows ever.
You kind of start seeing that, like it's kind of like a repeatable thing on this show. Like you go back through all our episodes and everybody's like, yeah, once I started racing for real. I even stopped speeding on the highway.
Yeah. No, you start to just like dedicate yourself. Like, and when I don't mean this in like a bad way, but like a lot of show car stuff to me is like you're seeking approval for something. You want people to like be like, oh, that's sick. I want to do that, you know? But like to me, cars, if you're constantly worried about how something looks and you're worried about what someone else thinks, you're not doing it to the full extent. So when people start racing, they start being like, this is the coolest thing ever. If nobody ever saw this thing in the daylight again except me, you're going to be like, I love this.
Well, it's also black and white, right? Like shows are kind of, again, you're leaving your fate up to someone else. When you win at racing, whatever kind it is, it's pretty black and white. You're the winner.
Yeah.
But you go to a car show and you'll have somebody just having a mental breakdown. Like, what? His wheels were...
Yeah.
So that makes sense, actually.
Well, I think from perspective, like, or with perspective, like you realize like, dude, like if you stop caring what anybody else says about you, start living, you'll love it. Like just find your passion in it, authentic and like genuinely, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Follow-up question. Do you like mushrooms? Because this is turning into a really, like, some life advice. I love it.
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't?
Oh, man. No, I don't know. Like, I did go on, like, a bit of just like, soul searching. Like, drifting, like, changed me as a person. Taught me to get out of my comfort zone, go introduce myself to people, shake hands, you know, like ask these big time dudes like, hey, can we drive? Can we run doors? You know? Mm-hmm. And then it just turned into like, I got the opportunity from that to invite and share the opportunity with other people. So it was like, I would go to proving grounds and you'd have like lines of people that want to bust out Snapchat and get in your seat. And then I would be like, I'm looking for like the kid that's like, yo, I'm standing in the background. Like, that's pretty cool. Would never ask me. And I'll be like, yo, get in the car.
That's cool.
And you get to change somebody's life. You get to give them an experience that they'd never in their life get. And you never know, like, if somebody needs that or if, like, that gives them a push. I know a few people that have gotten into drifting just by, like, sharing that. So it's pretty fun. It was a really cool, like, it was a moving time in my life. That's what made it hard to detach. But we'll get back to it soon enough.
Yeah. That's kind of how so I got into cars just because it was well, first of all, I love cars anyway, but I was like, I want to have a cool car, right? And then once you start using it like it's intended, then like you said, you just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not sure which is more work, having a race car or having a show car, because it's like keeping it clean is just a huge pain in the ass.
Oh yeah,
constant work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And with like the drift car, right? It's like I go through 3 front bumpers like on a light season.
Yeah.
Like 7 events.
Yeah, show cars are a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
It's,
and I loved like detailing up the BMW once in a while. You know, you go park it up. It's like, dude, I had like at one point I had 22 wheels for that car. It's like you spend an entire Saturday cleaning wheels. It's like,
Oh yeah, I bet.
oh man, but yeah, I'd go through 3 rear bumpers. Like I got brand new M3 bumpers. You know, I'd go out and I'd wrap it, put it on the car, and then it's like first run out, just drag it down the wall. Somebody runs it over. It's like, I don't care anymore. I leave it off for the rest of the season.
Well, we would see that like when we went to the replacement for Proving Grounds, the North Star Speed Summit.
Yeah.
And like, again, Dan and I haven't been around the drifting scene too much, right? So it's like when you see somebody dragging a bumper, you're like, oh, damn, that's different.
Yeah. Oh man. Like at Gridlife, a good example. Like I ran the wall. I had my mom in the car. She flew down to ride in my car at Gridlife, which was, to me, that was the coolest thing ever. She got out, ripped it off the zip ties, threw it over her shoulder, and marched it back to the pits. I was like, yeah, Ma, that's sick. You know, like, this is pretty cool.
That's got to be one of those like core memories, man.
Oh, yeah. I got a picture of her just like marching off into the distance with this bumper over her shoulder. And it's like, I don't know. That's the thing, though, is I'd slam it back on and all the vinyl's broken and the trim's missing. And it's BMWs too. Like E36s are just trim mulchers. I went through a set of trim on that thing 3-4 times a year. It's like, nah, you just stop caring as much.
Yeah.
Well, you drift guys are kind of a cult too. Like you're just like, come join us, like
Yeah.
all the time. Like,
because anytime, like, ask anybody if they're having a bad time drifting.
that's fair.
And like, I've never seen anyone be like, God, drifting sucks. I don't want to do this. Like, I don't know. There's something about it.
You'll get people that are like, oh, it's hard. Like, especially when they're trying to get started with a car that just, it's not that I can't do it. It's just that it seems like you can't to somebody that's a novice.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, people like pushing uphill. Like, and I again, don't mean anything bad by this, but like people want to be different so bad. And sometimes it's like you're going to fight an uphill battle and you're going to learn to hate something if you don't just do it an easier way. Start simple. I'm one to talk, but start simple and like, you know, people
work
want
smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah, people want to do all this crazy. Oh, I want to drift a freaking whatever, like some weird car. You know, I want a Volvo 240 with an LS in it. It's like just go get a Z and crash the thing into some walls and have fun. And then once you understand geometry and alignments and driving, then go fight it a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you find yourself learning a lot about that then in the process of building the Beamer?
No, I had kind of an unconventional route with drifting. I picked it up really fast. My second day drifting, we got like second place team tandem competition. And like, that was pretty cool to me. Like I don't know what it was. I have a long history of driving and doing, you know, I rode motorcycles like at the national level, like dirt bikes. I did trials my whole life. And like, I can pick lines. I know how to use all my hand and feet together. And I think that helped me a lot with that stuff. So I definitely wouldn't say it was a traditional kind of starting from the bottom, moving up. But yeah, I think that it's important to do the simple side of it when you start out. I don't know. I'm kind of a hypocrite that way. I'll tell people like start easy.
What is a traditional route then?
Traditional to me is like start cheap, start easy, start low power. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like the whole like you need to drift a single cam KA 240 with no angle because that just isn't fun. It's not as fun. But like go out and get a decent 350Z or go buy a car that works, a C6, whatever. C6s you can get for 10 grand these days. You can't buy a better car out of the box. I know Max said an S550. And like we got one up there, you know. Like I love S550s. I've thought about one of those too, but that's the thing is you go get a Volvo for $3 grand and you want to put an LS in it, you put a standalone in it, you go get a tune, you buy all this stuff for it, you build a custom angle kit for it. You're going to be $25,000 into an old Volvo. And then you're going to have to fight it and learn it when you could buy one of those, throw an angle kit and tires on it and party for a weekend.
Is the one behind us a EcoBoost or a VA?
That is an EcoBoost.
EcoBoost, okay.
Yep.
I don't think you're going to find it's mostly EcoBoost running.
Yeah, we do the EcoBoost build stuff here. But yeah, I want a dark horse. That's what I really want for a drift chassis. I just couldn't justify wadding one of those up as easy.
60 grand.
These make enough power right out the box to start drifting, right? The EcoBoost ones?
Yeah, and a lot of people are doing the EcoBoost swaps. They're cheap. Like Chelsea Denofa has a notchback. And he goes out, it's like 430 wheel, and he runs a ZF, E36 ZF transmission behind it. And the car, like, he goes out and wins big payout shootouts. Like, he's winning $20,000 shootouts in a just a caged notch with an EcoBoost in it. It's like, I don't know, man. It's crazy. The whole world, the world's getting crazy in the drift side of things.
Yeah.
What else are you seeing that's kind of crazy? How much do you pay attention to the drifting thing nowadays?
I do pay a good bit of attention to it. Honestly, like, I get FOMO.
Yeah.
I want to be driving real bad. Like, all my buddies are doing, like, the Drift Appalachia. They're going out to the mountains and drifting, like, Toge mountain roads. It's like, that's insane. Towns are shutting down roads for people to go slide their cars around on. It's
Which is crazy. The complete opposite of what you'd expect.
Right. And I remember when I started driving, you get 3-4 events in the Midwest a year that you can drift every weekend within a 4-hour radius if you want to. Like, it's pretty cool. The trajectory of the drifting world is really good. I like it a lot. Like, I actually went up to North Dakota. I'm really cool with those guys. I love them up there, up at SRD, Sandbeck Race Development. They own the Interstate Raceway track. And they just promote drifting in such a good way. Like, they pump talent out. I don't know, man. It's a crazy
when you
place.
say promoting it, like what do you mean? Like promoting like events or?
Yeah, they just promote the growth of drivers. They have these they call them like DTP, like Drifting the Plains, and it's a 4-round series, and you can enter, you can learn about how to do, like competition, like a lead chase. Like, you do your battles, you get judged. They have you work your way through the brackets and all that kind of stuff, and they're building they have drivers Cody Buchanan, one of my good buddies, like he's in Formula Drift Pro Spec. Like they have all these drivers coming out, getting licenses and going all the way to the big times, just because you have places like that breed creativity and like breed talent. So,
what's the other one besides Formula Drift that I've been hearing about that's also pretty good? Like some other series or something. I saw something on Facebook where it's like, oh, these guys have even like better people, or I can't remember what it was. Like where the events were something.
I guess I don't know. There's a lot of huge series going around right now. They have like the Bash Bros dudes, like running the local events right now, and then there's like DMEC. So
I think that's the one I heard about.
DMEC is the international circuit.
Okay.
So Josiah Fillet is he drives a C6. He was my sponsor, FDF Race Shop last season, and he's out there, driving with big names like James Dean, Connor Shanahan, like driving with these huge best in the world drivers, and like that's pretty crazy. Nasser, he's a dude from Dubai. He rented my car, and I towed it out to Jersey and crewed for him last year.
BMW?
Yeah. He like from Dubai, like Josiah synced us up. He's like, dude, this dude's got a car. Drive this thing. And he flew in from Dubai and rented it and stuff. Like pretty wild.
Is there like a high performance driving school or a place that somebody can go to kind of learn this shit? Like they give you a car, and is that place out in North Dakota where they do that too?
North Dakota does. It's called Drift 101s.
Okay.
And they get an instructor, like you'll get Cody, like he's a Formula Drift pro. Dude is insane. He's a menace behind the wheel, but he'll get in with you and he will teach you how to drive a car, like, and he will tell you what you're doing wrong, and they will curate drivers in a weekend up there. It's absolutely crazy.
Well, especially when you have somebody that knows how to teach as well. Because like there's a lot of doers or people that are able to do it, but they can't translate that into someone else.
I'm a terrible teacher.
Yeah.
I'm very impatient. And like, you go up there and like the dude I sold my car to, my E36, he wanted me to train him how to drive it. And I went up there and like Cody helped me out because I was sitting there like pulling my hair, you get frustrated. Like you want people to just get it. And sometimes it doesn't happen as fast. And like, that ND, if anybody ever wants to check out a wonderful environment for drifting, like whether you're a spectator, whether you're a driver, anything, like ND Drift, those dudes are the best people in this area. So.
And how far of a drive did you say that is? Like 4 hours?
Fargo is about 3.5. Yeah, they're just outside of Fargo. They're actually still in Minnesota, but.
Okay. Oh yeah, fair enough.
Just off the side of a cornfield, and they just got this crazy cool.
In Moorhead, probably.
Yep, just to this side of Moorhead.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's a brushed concrete track with no transitions, and like concrete's super light on tires. I'd go through half the tire volume, even in my car up there, that other people would go through. Like it's a great place to learn.
What about US Air?
I like US Air. I drove there a couple times.
Okay.
I guess I don't. It's more focused on like the showy aspect, in my opinion. I love it. Like I had a blast there. A lot of my really good friends and stuff, and I've driven there probably 3-4 times. I debuted my car there last year when it was orange, and we had a great time. But yeah, I guess to me, ND, you're gonna get more. I feel like you get more in touch with drifting initially. It's a little bit nicer crowd. No, I don't say that. Like it's hard to talk about it and not sound kind of like you're sided or anything, but like ND is just like everyone's bringing everybody up. Like the US Air, I didn't get that experience. I got yelled at the first time I was there because I didn't know where to go. It's like, I don't know where I'm going, dude. I'm sorry. And yeah.
Well, the drifters kind of get a little bit of a name for themselves of being kind of a wild bunch, right? I mean, is that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's everybody's different, you know.
Yeah.
Like.
It's kind of hard to bundle everybody all in one too, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you can't blanket. You can't blanket people. Like, and that's the thing is like, there's good eggs and there's bad eggs. And as with anything, you know, there's the people who like gatekeep specs and stuff, and then there's the people who are like,
Here you go.
Yeah, I would like one of my favorite things to do driving, and even out there, like I'd go up behind somebody and just like kind of a basic car, and I'd pull up behind them in this dog box freaking menace of a BMW with a big Holly high ram sticking out the hood, and I'd like hold up my fingers like, do you want to battle? And they'd get out this dude. Like I did it with this dude in the E36, and he was like mind blown. He's like, dude, no one's ever done that. And I was like just on his door the whole time. He's like, that's the coolest thing ever. I was like, you want to chase me? Like, and that's all it is. You just keep good vibes going. If you keep the good vibes, things will be fun. I don't know.
What made you decide to hang it up?
I was spending a lot of money on drifting. So it got to the point for me where I made a promise to myself in the beginning that if it got too cumbersome and it became something that I felt like a job more so than a passion and a hobby, that I would stop before I hated it. And I don't say this to sound like braggy or anything, but like I would pull that car out of the garage, like it was Carmageddon, was it last year?
Yep.
The first PG thing. I went through 32 tires. Comp spec, like $190 per tires. So $5,760 in tires. And then went through 35 gallons of E85. And that was just to party drive and give that car a send off. And like, I mean, that you're talking towing, I had a trailer, truck, all this stuff you have to do this. It's $4,000 to $7,000 a weekend, and it's not sustainable as a privateer.
Yeah.
Like I made it work for a while. I honestly don't even know how I made it work. Like the stars aligned.
Put it on Amex.
Yeah, no, didn't put it on the Amex. I had some sponsors and stuff for a while. Like a little bit of money was coming in. I had some people who believed in me, and it helped. But yeah, I had to hang it up before I started to hate it, because what people don't see is the weekends you're not driving and out here traveling, going crazy. I'm mounting 32 tires. I'm cleaning wheels. I'm doing brakes. I'm fluids. Is a 10 quarts of oil, is a dry sump oiled 418 LS. So 10 quarts of race oil, and then 2 quarts of Motul trans fluid, and all this stuff is $300 in oils every weekend. And like, do I need to do it every weekend? No, but like, you're protecting your investment, and
Right.
yeah, it just became overwhelming. I'd have to tow it to the shop, do all the fluids, and you spend 3 days getting ready to go beat on it for 3 days, and yeah, it just gets overbearing.
But if you wanted to continue doing it at that level, like, what would have kept you doing it? Is there anything?
Money.
Money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, in all honesty, like the money thing, that's the tough part with it. Like I say, is like, it sounds crazy, but when you really break it down, like I would order a stack of tires for an event and it's $5,000. And it's like, what am I doing? I sold everything else that I had for hobbies. Like I sold bicycles, I sold motorcycles, I sold everything I had just to fund drifting. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, I did cool stuff for a weekend, but like, now what?
Well, you must have to have a pretty serious trailer too to bring 32 tires with you.
I used to, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have it enclosed. Like I simplified everything. Towards the end, I got a aluminum open deck, and I'd strap tires to that, fill the car up with tires, fill the bed up with tires, and I found ways to do it cheaper. But it's one of those things, like, you recover for part of the season. Like part of the off season is just recovering financially.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wouldn't trade it for the world though. That was the coolest time of my life. We did a lot of fun stuff, met a lot of really awesome, influential people. Mm-hmm.
So you think at some point in the near future, like obviously you're pursuing this off-roading thing, which we will get into. Do you ever foresee yourself kind of just jumping back into it, maybe even on a cheaper level?
Yeah. I'm hunting for a Grand Sport.
Okay.
So
like a C6? Okay.
C6 Grand Sport is, honestly, in my opinion, it's the best bet that Chevy made. 7-liters have 7-liter problems. They're aluminum chassis.
Yeah.
So Grand Sport is a steel chassis, wide body, LS3 dry sump and only the coupe manual cars were dry sump. So they got the whole, like, the just impenetrable oiling system. Perfect setup. They had the big brakes, the 06 brakes, but most importantly, it's a steel chassis. So if I want, back in my mind, I'm gonna keep it simple, but way back there, it's like, okay, if I ever want to slam a cage in this thing and go full boogie again, I have the potential to do it. But you can get a 100,000 mile Grand Sport.
I remember somebody telling me about that too, that you want to avoid the Z06s because of the aluminum. Or is it, yeah, the Z06 has the aluminum chassis, right?
Aluminum chassis and the 7-liters drop valves. I had a C6Z I bought from a customer actually at my last job, and I love that car. Vets are phenomenal. I don't know if you've ever driven a decent high power C6. They are wonderful cars to drive. I got to drive ZR1s and stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. That would be end goal. Like, drifting a ZR1 would be such a wild thing. But
Oh God.
Would you? Well, first of all, you'd have to be made of money, but also like made of money.
they sound so good.
Yeah, our buddy's selling his for the short term. I hate you. I just want you to know if you're listening. But anyways,
Hell yeah.
just making sure it's clear. But would that even be a good drift chassis?
I mean, yeah, like they're dry sump. They're just robust cars.
Okay.
ZR1s have like insane drive lines. Like stock drive lines are holding over 1,000 horsepower.
What makes a drift car a good drift car? Like whether it's cheap or, again, $100,000 like a ZR1.
Power, aftermarket support, and parts availability.
Okay.
So you got C6s are a massively covered chassis now. Everybody, like you can put FDF. Go to FDF, buy a full kit, dual caliber, like an entire bolt-in angle kit, bolt-on dual caliper kit. You can buy seat brackets, rails, steering wheel, everything. You can literally bolt together a drift car off the shelf, and all these parts are always in stock. You go to the parts store, you burned up, like, if you got a JZ, I burned up a water pump. What are you going to do? Like you're at the track. Where are you going to get that? Like a C6, you can go to a Napa and get plug wires and coils, and anything you need, you'll be able to get at the parts store. That to me is the most important thing, is like availability and ease of working on stuff. Like I had 3 alternators. My drift car ran a C6 accessory drive. Yeah, you can do these crazy aftermarket accessory drives, but if you keep it OEM, then it's OEM.
That's true. Like when Sean's Hellcat Durango was having issues, I think it was a thermostat or whatever down at Texas 2K. It's like you're just able to go to whatever.
Yeah.
And it was the same one that was in one of the 5.7s or whatever. Like technically Bryce told us that wasn't readily available information, but it's like, oh, you can just throw in something OEM, and then it's like it saved our trip, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was out at Gridlife, and I needed an alternator. Mm-hmm. Called the O'Reillys 3 miles away. Hey, do you have a 2006 Equinox alternator? I know all the cross references too. So like, you can put a C6 or a Equinox alternator is the same as a C6 casting, same depth, belt spacing, all that stuff. But they have like a different pin, so you'd have to flip a pin in your harness. But it's like, cool, I can go get this alternator for $75, and my weekend's not ruined because I'm 16 hours from home with no spare alternator, Or you can go to the dealership and buy a C6 alternator. It's pretty handy.
Is the dry sump thing something that's a necessity, or are you really sloshing that much oil that's?
I burned up a 5.3 once.
Did you really?
So I had a forged 5.3. Wiseco hooked me up on internals for it, but I spun a rod bearing, and I had an AccuSump on it, like an oil accumulator, and it didn't save it. The C6 dry sump is an OEM dry sump that just happened to fit in my chassis. I used a factory pan, factory pump, front cover, all that stuff. So they're kind of like a dry wet sump system. And then I used just a nice billet Peterson tank. I don't know if you guys put pictures and stuff in. I'll show you some pictures like how it looks. But I used an OE configuration. Because if you do an ARE dry sump, it's going to be $5,000-$6,000 in billet fancy crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So I did a budget setup, but yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like you said, if you have a budget setup, it's a lot easier to do it in every way. Because then when you start messing with the second you start throwing anything billet in there, it's like that's also a weekend ruiner when those things go wrong.
Right. And like I say, to me it's all about ease of replaceability.
Well, for drifting it makes the most sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when people do custom length plug wires, right? I wanted to relocate my spark plug or my coils under the frame, to keep the engine bay clean. It's like, well, now you just have to build a custom plug wire if you ever burn one up. Keep a stock coil and like OEM coils of 200,000 miles will outlive any parts store coil. But like, that's how I built a car. I built a car where I ran an off-the-shelf factory-length serpentine belt. I had 3 spare belts. I had spare alternators. You'd have all these spare parts. You'd have a balancer, power steering pumps, all factory GM just stuff you can get at the parts store. So
slide this over like just a little bit like this way. Yeah, there we go. You're good.
Okay.
So then did you swap everything in yourself then?
Yeah.
That was like a weekend project or what?
No.
I'm just saying, every time anybody starts doing GM swaps of any sort or LS swaps, they're just like, oh yeah, man, I did it over a lunch break. Like that's every story ever.
That's actually funny you say that because
oh my God.
When I was working at MAP, we could rent lifts or we could book lifts to use. And I had that car. I got yelled at a few times because I worked on it day and night. At my lunch breaks, my 15-minute breaks, I worked on it from the time I got off work to 11 o'clock every single night for 6 months straight. I did a really nice swap his like ceramic coated exhaust. Like the car was beautiful. And yeah, I did build it on lunch breaks, but I put a lot of time into it. We machined a block. We did, ported heads. We did all this crazy stuff. Like Eric, the engine builder from Moab. Shout out to Eric. He's such a good dude. That dude built all my race engines, and he put it all into it. So we did like kind of top of the line. I didn't slam a stinky old truck motor in it. Like LS swap's often misconstrued as like this greasy old piece of junk. I didn't like greasy junk, but I like to keep it factory, OEM plus kind of.
Mm-hmm. And what'd you have? You said you had a 5.3 in there, right?
To start,
it
was an aluminum block 5.3.
Okay.
I made 380. The car weighed 2,400 pounds.
Jesus.
Which it was snotty. The thing partied really good, but yeah, the 550 wheel at 2,600 pounds was even wilder.
And which motor was that?
That 550 was the 418.
Okay, gotcha.
So that was a burned Escalade engine. It came out of a truck that burned to the ground. It got so hot it melted the oil pan.
Oh shit.
The block looked like it was found in like a coral reef, like it was trashed. And we machined it, stabbed it out, like we did a 10 overbore on it and put a stroker crank in it, and still rips today. So
you a scuba diver? Where'd the coral reef reference come from?
I
It just
don't know.
came out of nowhere.
I mean, just imagine like an old car that's been sitting in the ocean.
Yeah.
You know how like corroded they get? That's
Yeah.
what that block looked like.
I've seen burned cars. Things get rough. It takes all the coating off everything. Everything rusts instantly. Yeah, it's nasty.
We had to like grind the intake manifold off to find the bolts to get the intake off. It was like melted.
Well, how about that demon from PRI, the Scrap Life Garage demon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Dude, PRI is crazy.
have you been there a few times then?
Yeah, I went down last year. Have you guys been down there?
We went last year for the first time.
Dude, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like that's a gearhead's just dream.
And it's an 8-hour drive.
Yeah,
Like,
it's real short.
Yeah.
I ran into Dennis Anderson, like the gravedigger.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Like I literally bumped into him and I was like, dude, I haven't seen you since I was, I don't know, about 8 years old at the Metrodome. He's like, man, I miss the Metrodome. Like, it's super cool.
Yeah, I ran into Bruno Manzel down there from all the shows on the Hot Rod Network.
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
He's big into four-wheeling and shit, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
growing up, that's all like Spike TV every Saturday
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
Same for you?
Yeah.
Oh, I love those shows back in the day.
Dude, it was so funny because like we're like packing up to go home, and then Dan like does one of these, and he's like, Bruno, like it was like,
Oh my
hilarious.
I met Mad Mike at SEMA.
Okay.
Oh,
Like
really?
from Pimp My Ride, like Galpin Auto Sports. I was like, man, you gotta pimp my ride. And he was like, shut up.
That was such a horrible show. If you go back and watch it
Oh
now,
my
it's
God.
like garbage. You're like, oh my
Did
god.
you hear about all the crazy stories that like
Yeah.
they like did some awful things to people there? Oh, it's funny.
They did nothing to make the car more reliable. Just 100%. All just like
Just aesthetic
hot glue
garbage.
shit on. Yeah.
Just like, we got you 39 PlayStation 2. It's like, great. What am I gonna do with that?
No, PRI is awesome. I'm excited to go this year. Like I'm excited for SEMA, but I think, dude, PRI is just kind of like where we fit in. And like, now that we're 50 episodes further along in this podcast, like we have a even bigger understanding of everything.
Yeah.
So it's like now we're
It
like,
teaches you a keen eye, I feel like.
dude,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you have to understand, like even for so episodes, I always go back to episode 67 with Jason Anderson. He ports heads. That's literally all he does. Head work. He is awesome at doing head.
What shop?
Janderson heads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And
They're
it's
like,
like
our go-to guy in the area here to port heads and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like I
guess
think it's like a
I-
6-month waiting list. Like it's like,
Yeah.
but like
Really?
he's done some fast cars. He does a lot of like Mini Cooper stuff, which is kind of interesting, like for like road course stuff. But like, but anyways, like that whole episode, like I was able to the conversation outside looking in, you would never have guessed. But like as we're doing the episode, I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
But now it's like if we go to like PRI, like we could have a way more. Like it's just such a cool thing. Like I feel like the more you know, or the more things you experience in life, that type of shit, like it's just awesome.
Yeah, it breeds creativity.
Dude, when you
Like
see
the more you get out, the more you're gonna like, you just start absorbing cool things and like
Well, every time we have a guest on, I end up like I'm gonna be shopping for trucks after this. I know it. I just
Yeah.
it's
He was
like
already on
I
Facebook
do
no,
this
what, like
shit all
what
the
you
time.
guys are doing is so
Yeah.
cool. Like I think it's cool. Like it's cool to me that you guys are local and doing this thing too. And it's like, yeah, I was pretty honored when you reached out. You're like, a couple people referred me. I'm like, I have done a couple things in my day. Like it's kind of fun to be able to talk about it a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it was so funny. Like his text was literally like, anything I should prepare for, talk about? I'm like, have you done cool shit? He's like, yeah. I'm like, there you go.
That's it. Yeah.
But
I've done some things.
well, there's just some sort of energy that people like put down, right? And one of the things that I really dislike is when people want to come on here and like promote stuff. It's like, come on, dude, we know.
Yeah.
You're knocking on my door. But anyways, that aside, no, speaking of the marketplace thing, though, like this dude was literally looking at Porsche Cayennes while you stepped outside.
Yeah.
They're cool, man.
Dude, they're cheap.
They're cheap.
Yeah.
They're super cool. You do like that Eurowise lift, right? Like we charge, kind of want to say it's around 1,600 installed for a 3-inch lift in one of those. And then you would put 33s and wheels on it, cut the bumpers a little bit, and you're jamming.
Yeah.
Like those things are very capable. They're cool cars. They drive so nice.
I was reading so I looked at a 2014 4.8 twin turbo, 500 horse, 7,700 pound towing capacity.
Yeah, they're sweet.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, Adam tows with his all the time.
Really?
Yeah. We tow
He's a big
we tow
Porsche guy.
Fiestas and RSs around with it. It's just a comfy tow rig.
Yeah.
Does he still have that green one? The green Porsche, I think it was a
No, he had a Macan.
Macan.
Yeah, he sold that one.
That was a cool rig.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what's a nice way of asking this? What the fuck? Like, what is it about the Porsches? Like, the Cayennes, right? Like, I started learning about this a few years ago, like, starting to see, I'm like, oh, that guy's an odd duck. Like, what makes them such a special platform? Because we're seeing more and more of them that are getting turned into, like, these off-roading machines. I don't know how to describe it.
The industry on that side of things is absolutely blowing up. I honestly have no idea. Like, I couldn't tell you why. I didn't actually know, like, they were cool and capable until I started hanging out with Adam. Like, me and him actually were coworkers at MAP years and years ago.
Yeah, he was
Dude,
like...
no, this whole map thing, like, as we have all these people on, like, I wish I could go back in time and I would go beg for a job there. You guys are all so, like, tight-knit. You're all spread out all over the metro here, and every single one of you it's like a cult. You guys are all, like, best friends.
Dude, I cherish the memories and the fondness of the relationships I have with people from MAP. Like Max. Me and Max were talking earlier. Like, me and Max talk all the time. Kyle Nelson is my best friend. He's a co-founder at MA Performance. Mm-hmm. That's my best friend. Like, me and him, like, when I started MAP, I was into off-roading. And he was building this big, stupid turbo Silverado with a solid axle, like crazy. It made 580 horsepower on 44s. Like, the thing was ridiculous. But, like, everyone else is building cars there. And I'm like, oh, cool. There's rock crawler people here. And now, like, me and him are boys. I was in his wedding. Like, we're best friends. I mean, the amount of friends I have from MAP, everywhere I've gotten in life is stemmed from that. It was pretty sad, like, watching how things kind of ended up. But, like, everyone left and, like, pursued better for themselves. And I think that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, all of my friends from there have taken these cool, awesome jobs or taken opportunities. Like, Max is, like, he's at Patience killing it, dude. He is, I mean, a god-tier fabricator. He is phenomenal. And it's like at MAP, he was like, he's just one of the guys, you know? And now it's like, dude, this dude's out here. It's cool how everyone's sprinkled into the community, and, like, now it's boosting up even more.
So you and Adam kind of go back then. What was he doing back then?
He was a business manager.
Gotcha.
At MAP years ago. I actually lived with Adam for probably 10 years ago now. God, that was a long time ago. But yeah, he went off. I think he went back to Turn 14 or Motivicity.
Yeah.
Motivicity got bought by Turn 14 a couple of years. Well, that's probably 7-8 years now. But yeah, he came back, and then he reached out to me recently, and we kind of reconnected. We went off roading last fall. Took this out. He has this little Nissan. I shouldn't say little. His big Nissan fire truck thing that's all built and stuff for off roading. And yeah, we're like, yo, we should start an off road shop. We love this stuff, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah, and you were kind of telling us a little bit about, like, these, like, Cayennes. Like, they have. You recently found out there was, like, a manual one and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so if somebody were to build one of these, I'm totally gonna blow up the whole market right now. We tripled our X8 numbers, by the way. Oops. But, like, what makes them such a good platform to work on? Does anything come to mind?
They're just like, they're robust. I would have never thought, like, me and Porsche and reliability, right? No.
Right.
There's no way these things are stout. Like, they are robust trucks. They're affordable. They don't actually have, like, locking. Some of them have locking diffs and, like, locking center diffs and stuff, but they all have gear reduction. So for a 4-wheel drive vehicle, you got a comfy interior. All we do is you just do spacer lifts. You space the subframe an inch, you put 2-inch strut spacers in them. They're like, and then they clear a 33 and they just go places. They use the ABS to actually control traction. So to lock up the spinning wheel to put traction to the other tire and get you up things. And they just work. Wow. I wasn't a firm believer. I am a firm believer in Cayennes now. And they're just cool trucks. Like, they're comfortable. They present well. I'll just show you guys a picture after. I got like the red one we just wrapped up. It's a red 06 titanium edition. Like, nice, like it's got quad tip exhaust. Like, it's a clean truck. And that thing literally just climbed over this like big pile of dirt out here. And it's like, that's not even beginning to scratch the surface of what they can do. So, yeah.
But like, so is there any like trim or anything that's just kind of like the one, or they're all kind of pretty good?
Anything 09 plus if you're getting a V8.
Okay.
Because like the 08s and previous all had the cylinder scoring issue. That's the main fault of those, which we are going to develop an LS swap kit for these things too. Like, we want to develop a bolt-in like OE style LS swap for these Cayennes because it's a viable option.
Are you supposed to disclose that? Is that good?
No, it'd be totally fine. Like, I think it'd be cool. Like, we're talking about doing it with this turbo out here because it's broken already. They're stout vehicles. They're good chassis, and if you can get everything to work right, they have like, I don't know, 11 wires going into the ECU. Like, that's all you got to figure out. Like, it's not that bad.
Could we coyote swap instead of LS swap it? I'd appreciate
There's
that.
not enough space in there for all that. We could do LT, go Gen 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about EcoBoost swapping them, like, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the real downfall of those cars was just the 03 to 08 trucks. We just failed at cylinder wall really bad.
Is that the V8s only, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Turbo or non-turbo.
I saw one had
the
a
VR6 ones are just like robust, but
one I saw in there had a diesel in it. Is that, do you guys mess with those at all?
we do the diesels. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the newer chassis. Those are
Okay.
really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's not like a limit on what years you should stop at then? They're just all phenomenal after 09?
Yeah, 09 to 10. So that's still a first gen Cayenne. That's called a 957.
Okay.
955 is the 02 to 06.
Okay.
957s, I think, will look a little better. It's a more modern front end and stuff. But yeah, and then 958 goes 2011 to 18. Those are the only platforms that we build. But they're the same as like the tour rig, right? So like the tour rig with the diesel, like they towed like 40,000 pound plane with it or whatever.
Oh.
Like they make 560 foot-pounds of torque or something outrageous. And so Adams had those, but they're all the same chassis. They use the same parts and everything. Volkswagen, Audi, obviously. So
Yeah. Is there another so I asked the same thing to Max, right? What is the best, I want to go wheeling, what's the out the box, like I can buy it, I don't have to pay a lot, and I'm ready to just hit the freaking off-road? Is there something out there that ticks that box?
yes, there's a lot of things.
Okay.
Jeeps are great. You like a Rubicon's going to have the better axles and stuff, and a 4-to-1 transfer case. I don't like driving Jeeps.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever driven a Jeep Wrangler. You had a Gladiator.
I had a Gladiator.
They're real loose. They're never just settled. You know what I mean? Just in my opinion, from what I've driven, I've had a few Jeeps myself, and I like Jeeps. The aftermarket's great. We build Jeeps here. We have a Jeep coming in next week. Like, we do Jeeps. Toyota Tacoma, 4Runner. Like, that's a classic, great truck.
That's a bucket list one to have for me, for sure.
Yeah, and I want to build a 1-ton crew cab Tacoma next. That's after this. I'm building a 4-door because I love bringing people with. I love sharing the experience. So like to me, I want to build something with 4 seats. But like
he's
out
the
of the
guy in a
box,
circle is like, take a hit, man.
Yeah. No, like I mean any of those honestly, or Cayenne. Now like knowing what I know about Cayenne, they're wonderful trucks. This red one we just built. I mean, I think we're gonna sell this truck for 11, like 10.5 to 11,000, and it's built, set up, roof rack, lifted, 33s, wheels, and that thing will go anywhere. You can take it out to Colorado and do pretty wild stuff with that. So I don't know. Cayennes I think are viable. I think they're a great option.
And the interiors are nice, like it kind of like a luxury vehicle on the inside too, right?
I'll show you the ones we got. We have those two out here. I can take you guys for a rip after the show quick, but yeah, like they're nice. Like Adam's personal one has like the peanut butter interior. They make these bolt-in head units. We sell a package here. We work with this company, and they're like, it's a bolt-in CarPlay head unit. Like it modernizes the truck a bunch. Like there's some cool stuff with those.
Do you guys want to pause the show and just go do it right now?
Yeah, sure.
Let's
You
just do
there-
that.
I'll
can
be
you
down
bring
to stand
camera
for a minute.
outside and get the footage of it or what?
Yeah, I got an iPhone, not an Android. We can make it happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Before we get too far into the show, I wanted to take a moment to talk about Raise a Hood. If your daily driver is having issues, aka your beater you got off Craigslist, Raise a Hood's telemechanics and AI tools can help you diagnose and solve the issues you may be dealing with for a fraction of the cost. All you have to do is add your car to the Raise a Hood garage to get started. You can provide the AI tool, also known as Gus, with the specifics of the issues you're having, and it'll help you narrow down what the culprit is. It's a great way to bounce ideas off of to figure out what actually might be the problem. You could then select from a variety of solutions to explore the cost and difficulty of doing the repair yourself versus taking it to a shop. If your car doesn't have detailed solutions yet, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and add your car to the garage for free, and that'll let the Raise a Hood team know what to focus on as they continue to develop and grow. If you want to try out Gus or chat with a telemechanic, go to raiseahood.com and add your car to the garage to get started. Use code Monoxide Free for a 1-month free subscription or Monoxide 20 to save 20% on a 30-minute call with a telemechanic. Let's get back to the show.
A lot of you guys know Ratified Motorsport for their RS3, TTRS, 1,000 horsepower hairdresser car builds, but they are so much more than that. From basic maintenance on an R35 GTR to, cute little Volkswagen GTIs like mine, they're able to do a little bit of everything. Whether it's your basic maintenance or an intake and a tune or even a full-blown build, be sure to go to ratifiedmotorsport.com to get yourself booked today, and I hope to see you guys at the shop.
Yep.
All right.
Time in.
Time in.
Time in.
All right. And we're back. That was fun. Porsche was cool. Obviously, without 33s, you can only do so much. But would you do that same sort of deal that we did with the truck, with the Porsche?
Yeah. I would
Really?
love to bring, like I say, I love to share experiences with everybody. I would make you guys very uncomfortable if I took you to one of the actual places we go off-roading.
Well, it's like...
It's like you will, there's times in Moab where we'd be like looking off and it's a 60-degree slope down and you're just looking at the back tires of the truck are jumping off the ground as you go down. Like, they'll redecorate your underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all right. What's the worst thing we're going to do? Roll down the hill?
Yeah, in a 1980 Toyota Pepsi
Yeah.
can.
Wait, no. That's probably made of real metal.
Yeah, Japanese steel.
Yeah.
You know Toyotas are famous for.
What's that?
They're really bad steel. Nah, I take calculated risks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of most of the time.
Well, it was nuts. I don't know. Like yours looked pretty rowdy, like looking outside. But like when you were looking like straight down, I'm like, there's no more sky.
Yeah.
I was
looking
really
up there.
hoping that we were going to go all the way over the hill there. I know you don't know it was on the other side, but I'm like, we're going to go all the way over.
Oh, we can. It's just a little dicey because I don't remember exactly what the layout is, and I don't want to like drop a tire off the edge and then we got a whole situation. I'm trying to not have a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like it's kind of overgrown over there. You're not really
Yeah.
seeing everything. Yeah.
In the
Otherwise,
springtime, it was just all dirt, so it wasn't too bad. But
Yeah.
No, this thing I tipped it in Moab. I'm going back there in end of April. Moab was crazy. It's like phenomenal. The views, everything out there, like hundreds of miles of trails out there. It's pretty cool.
and there's different levels of trails, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like they're all rated.
They rank them out there.
What are the rankings typically like?
It's like a 1 to 10
Okay.
for extremeness.
Okay.
Like 10's like, or like they'll set your, minimum of 35s winch lockers required to go on this trail. And like enter at your own risk type thing, sign the waiver at the gate. Like,
Is it have to do with a lot of like straight ups, straight downs, things like that too, or is it just
no, they have, it's hard to even put into words.
yeah?
It's everything that like you can't even imagine all the things they have out there. It's pretty cool. They had this the trail I tipped this over on. It's called Escalator on Hell's Revenge. Hell's Revenge is one of the iconic Moab passes, and yeah, like this trail, there's buggies on 40s, like these big full tube chassis rock crawlers, just idling up this thing fully flexed out, and I chased him up in the Toyota, and my tires slipped down into one of the holes, and it just ended up like on its side. It's like, okay, like you can't drive up this wall, like you can't walk up these walls. They're so steep.
Right.
Like it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's
Pull this bad boy a little bit more.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, you're good. We're just resetting after our little adventure.
Our little excursion. But yeah, man, no rock crawling. It's so vastly different anywhere you go to. In Minnesota, it's like we have trail trucks. So Minnesota's a lot of these like it's more muddy, woodsy. Like we're in the forest, kind of.
Yeah. No, it makes
And
sense.
there's like you go to the Gilbert iron mine up north. So the Iron Range it's old iron tailings from like where they hauled the ore boats across Lake Superior, like the Edmund Fitzgerald and those boats like haul iron ore. That's ore.
That's where the idea came from?
That's where ore, like what ore is from for that, the Iron Range up north. And yeah, basically they built this park and literally just miles and miles of mine tailings and huge, like you're talking, 20,000 pound boulders. And you just go climb through it with your side-by-sides, your Toyotas, your Jeeps, whatever.
And this is where at?
This is 3 hours north of here.
Do you, like, what town? Where are we talking? Like,
Eveleth,
Hibbing area?
Gilbert.
Okay.
Gilbert
okay.
is the town.
All right.
Eveleth, kind of Virginia, Minnesota.
Yep.
Like up that way. Yeah.
Up towards Hibbing.
Yeah,
that area.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, like that's some of the terrain you can get in Minnesota. But then you go out west, you have like, next year I'm doing the Rubicon. So the Rubicon Trail it's an in and out trail right on the side of Lake Tahoe. Takes a day in and a day out. And you camp out there and there's bear. It's crazy. You have to have a satellite phone to like go on the trail. Like,
Oh, really?
It's crazy stuff. But like that's all dry Northern California. And then like just the terrain is vast. Or I guess the United States has such a crazy amount of natural everything.
Yeah.
It's like there's no
Oh, yeah.
like there's no place in the world that compares as far as the amount of different things you can see here.
Dude, like I don't think people understand just how big the United States are, right? Like even if you look at like California of all places, like you could be on the ocean and then you're up, like it snows,
Yeah.
and then you go a little bit too far up north, then you go down south, and it's just you have palm trees and all this. Like it's just we have such a crazy topography. Is that the word? I think that's the word. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, just variety. Yeah,
Yeah.
variety of different terrain. And
Like we have
stuff.
what is it? The sand dunes in Michigan.
Yeah, that's Adam was just out there with his Porsche
really?
about a month ago.
That's pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
are your guys' like builds capable of that too then?
Yeah.
Going through all that?
Yeah, the best thing about off-roading is there's no definition for it.
That is a good point.
It's
If it's off the
off-road,
road.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, you're off-road. You like do whatever
Yeah.
you feel like you want to do and push your limit as far as you want to push it. And
Is it?
it's fun for anybody that tries it. Like,
They say there's no stupid question. That was a stupid
no,
question.
there's no stupid questions.
Is it a growing sport? Are they? So I'm noticing some more OHVs. I have a side by side. I like to go out and rip the trails and stuff. But you don't really have a truck, or they don't let trucks on them. But I'm seeing more and more like OHV trails kind of pop up. Are they kind of building more stuff and giving more infrastructure to that too?
Yo, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, like COVID actually kind of like launched a huge change in like people just going outside.
Yep.
Like overlanding and stuff like that, like where people just want to go get missing in the woods. Like I want to go disappear for 10 days. And like that's where it's going. Like there's the people that hardcore rock crawling guys that are like, they tow the rig up for a day, abuse them lawlessly in the woods, and then tow them home. And then you got the guys that are out there in a Porsche Cayenne with a roof tent on it, and the whole family loaded up, and they spend 10 days out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
What are some like precautions you're taking? Like for example, you mentioned bears, right? Like are you bringing like an elephant gun with you or what?
No, I mean you bring the strap for sure. You got to, but like for the most part, like in Moab, right? What kills you in Moab is temperatures.
Really?
It'll be like we'd wake up. We were out there in May, like around May 25th, like the last week, 2 weeks of May. And when we were in May, or when we were out there in May, you'd wake up and be 45 degrees. And then it'd be 85 by midday and sunny and dry. And then it'd drop to 30 degrees overnight.
Oh, so you gotta prepare for both.
So like you get stuck out there, you break an axle and the sun's going down and you're 8 miles off into just this barren rocks as far as you can see. And like you can die out there. But in like the Rubicon, you're in Northern California, like on Lake Tahoe, and there's the natural predators and stuff out there, and there's like big elk or moose, you're gonna get like a moose out, not elk. I don't think there's elk out there, but yeah, you got to prepare pretty good. I got really good at actually preparing for events from drifting. Drifting teaches you to like think of every possible outcome. So
Yeah, so I'd imagine I've seen the guys, you get a winch, you want straps, probably different kind of, so if you roll over on your side, you're by yourself, you need to probably rig up different pulleys and stuff to get your shit.
You don't wheel by yourself at places like that.
No, okay.
No, that's a no. That's a no. That's wheel in groups no matter what if you can, even if it's two. There's always a way back then, And like the stuff we do around here, like last weekend we were just down in Frontenac, right down by Red Wing. I don't know if you guys know where that is. Right, almost by
I've
Lake
heard
City.
of Frontenac. Yeah, yep.
So Frontenac off-road is like, it's a great local spot. It's 40 minutes from my house. And you can go down there and, you know, you're maybe a mile up a trail in any direction away from people. But there's a centralized campground. Everyone's there. You can wheel alone. But when you go out to these places like Moab, the Rubicon, like you're taking a very large risk.
Yeah.
Yep. We brought our Enduros out to Moab. And like, yeah, I mean, if you kill your battery, run out of fuel, like you could be 20 miles.
Oh, shit.
You could be looking at Moab on top of the rim, but it's a 1,600-foot vertical drop to get down there, and you have to figure out a way home. Like it's wild.
Bring a parachute.
Yeah, no, seriously.
like,
Hot
squirrel
during the day,
jumpers.
freezing at night. Like that's a pain.
Yeah,
in the ass.
it's nutty. It's the mountains though, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's an hour and a half south of Grand Junction, Colorado. And
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. Like the country's phenomenal. It's worth it. We went out there with a group. Actually, one of my TCP customers. We built an F body for him, and he's like, "Dude, I got to build Jeep." He saw my Toyota outside one day, and then me and him actually met up and went down there. The dude with this Toyota Hiace, same thing. We were pulling into our condo complex after a 24-hour drive, and I was like, "That's one of my customers from TCP." Met up with him, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool." We ended up wheeling with those dudes all week, though.
That's pretty cool. I like that there's levels to it, right? Like you can go buy like a Ford Raptor, right, and go hit like one of the beginner trails too,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's the coolest thing. And one of my good friends, Brent, I actually live like with his mom is like my landlord. So I live like, we have this like cool country house out there. But Brent, he's done like all these big like Easter Jeep Safari, all the really big name stuff. That him and his brother Brad are like in with the owner of Crawl magazine and stuff. And Brent told me one time, he's like, "Your Toyota's perfect." He's like, "Because you can always put 40s and 1-tons. You can make this thing ridiculous. You can link it, coilovers. You put an LS in it, make it absolutely ridiculous. You're going to have just as much fun now with small tires, chasing smaller obstacles, as I'm going to have just simply doing that just on a bigger, more expensive scale." So
That's
it's
a
some
good way to put it.
perspective.
Yeah. So, what's the next step? I just bought myself a Toyota, and I've
Good
been
choice.
out. It's been fun. Yeah. Well, now I've got. I want to step my game up a little bit. What's the next step? Lift,
Yeah.
bigger tires.
Always
things
start
like
with
that?
a good set of coilovers,
Yeah.
like upper control arms, to get your angles, geometry right.
Okay.
You're going to do wheels, tires. You figure out how aggressive you want to go. Like, I'm not going to recommend Beadlocks for like just about anybody because they lose air. This thing's got Beadlocks on it. I put air in these tires every 3 days, and it's the most annoying thing in the absolute universe. But like, you could do wheels, tires, front bumper, set of rock sliders, and a rear bumper. And you don't even need to do that. That's simply a protection thing because you're protecting an investment.
Right.
But like, you're talking, $10,000 into a vehicle, any year Tacoma, and that thing will go anywhere.
Now, let's say I'm out there. I've done this. I now slide down the side of a rock, and I just I bend my door in half like a taco, right? I've just slid into some shit, or I hit a tree. And do I still get to call my insurance company?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. No?
I promise you can't do that.
Yeah? All right.
There's like track insurance and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a real gray area.
Yeah. I'd imagine
I've never
you
tried
could,
it myself.
You could be like, I was just driving down and hit a fucking puddle and slid into the road, right?
Yeah, but you're also
I
driving
don't
your
recommend,
vehicle.
what is it? Doing insurance fraud, by the way.
Yeah.
No, don't condone
I don't
those
recommend
activities.
it. Yeah.
But little disclaimer, they're very serious about that. If you try to do insurance fraud on something as simple as a windshield, like
Oh, yeah. We know that
again,
story.
you and I know that story.
yeah.
Again, we're not gonna snitch on no one here.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a cop, don't worry.
but like, dude, they're serious. Like,
Oh,
they're gonna inspect parts of you didn't see in a few years. Like, it's just it's like that. So
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I know people have gotten paid out. Like, insurance companies are such a strange thing.
I know.
Like, it's really just a wild industry. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I've seen I saw a dude with a C7. He broke a control arm on a pothole in St. Paul, and he couldn't get an OEM replacement. They discontinued it, and the insurance company paid him off for a C7. Totaled it. He put a used control arm in it and bought it back for no money.
Huh.
But then you get dudes that actually get some crazy crash, but they're like on the trailhead at Poison Spider in Moab. It's like, you were at the off-road adventure park. Nope, sorry, we're not going to do this. I don't know. It's a gray area.
I always wonder that because you buy some stuff built for the purpose, right? You get a Bronco, a Sasquatch edition or something. You want to go out and do some off-roading stuff, but then the second you do use the car for what it's intended for, then insurance won't cover you.
That's the thing is like protect them.
Yeah.
Like when you're spending that much money on a vehicle, if you don't protect it, that's on you.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Like this thing, this thing is hatched in aesthetic, but it's not. See how it's not all bent up? Like the body's not cased.
Yeah, you said you tipped it over, and I was trying to find out where.
I have rock sliders. I got a tube bumper that covers underneath the bed rail and the whole corner of the bed.
Yeah.
When I flipped it in Moab, that tire on the other side was off the ground. Like it was swung that far into a hole when it was tipped over. All it did was push the mirror into the door and crease the door, and it pulled the mirror and popped it back out. And you'd never know that truck was fully on its side, like you could look at the bottom of it. I'll show you guys a picture, but
All right, that's sweet.
So, okay, and you kind of touched on it at the beginning of this podcast. So what's all invested in this truck, right? Because obviously this thing's a lot more capable than your, Becky White Jeep from the dealership.
right. So it's up to 1985. Toyota made solid axle trucks in the United States. Solid axle being a straight beam front, which is this axle. Like this truck is geared and locked, so it has lockers front and rear, has gears. Gears are required in Toyotas because they make zero power at all, and it gives it like its power back essentially. It gives it a power band for like this has 35s on it. I did drive shafts. The axles are truss welded. The frame's trussed and welded and reinforced. It has what's called high steer. So these trucks factory came with a push-pull steering system, it's called, where basically it doesn't work for off-roading. It's the wrong type of geometry. So I converted it to an independent front suspension truck steering box. Then I did dual transfer cases. It's got, I don't even know. It's all protected. Underneath I have a 3/8 plate skid shield underneath that covers the whole underside of the transmission and transfer cases. It's got quarter wall chromoly drive shafts in it. So like I can drive this thing off of rocks on the drive shafts and they won't bend.
That's crazy.
It's pretty wild. And then I did beadlocks, the bumpers, rock sliders. I fabricated that stuff, put that stuff in. I don't know, all in I think I probably got about $10,000 in this thing. And it's like, to me it's the old school cool too. I drive this truck 10,000 miles a year on the street. Like I told you guys, I have a newer Sierra at home that sits in the driveway because this thing is like just bopping down the road. People are like, "What is this idiot doing in this Toyota?" But yeah, I don't know, works good.
HOA does not approve.
HOAs are not real where I live.
I did notice the gearing because I was wondering that. So when we were about to go up over that hill, I'm like, it seems like it's about to die, right? But you probably can just feather the gas and she'll just crawl right the hell over it, huh?
The goal with the 4-speed obviously is like you don't want to ride the clutch all day.
Right.
So Toyotas are slow, but they climb. You put them in low range. This one is 100-to-1 reduction in low range with this axle gear ratio. So the engine spins 100 times for every one time of the drive shaft.
That's nuts.
So you got to think about like when I jumped out, you're going half a mile an hour.
Yeah.
But it'll idle its way up vertical walls because it's not tire spinning or anything. It just digs in and goes.
Yeah.
That's the Toyota technique though. It's different than like a big power rock buggy. Like they have rock bouncers and stuff. I'm sure you guys have seen those videos. Those things just like wide open throttle, big blown LSs flying up vertical hills. It's just a different world.
Yeah. Then they just tip backwards and roll down, and then they
do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a wild world.
Yeah.
I need you to start sending me some of these videos and stuff, by the way.
Dude,
that's one of the things that like I love, like again, doing this podcast is like I like when people send me off the wall shit. Like listen, I'll be honest with you, 90% of the memes you people send me, I don't watch. It's too much. But you send me something like this guy flying up a hill, like, all right, that's different. Because like it's just learning about different stuff.
Motorsport is like so wide.
Yeah.
You would like PRI opened my mind to that.
Yeah.
When you go to PRI, it's like, dude, they have, like billet Cummins pulling tractors, and they have mega trucks, and they have just everything. They have rally cars, trophy trucks, like all these different aspects of motorsports. And it's all these real weird niche communities
Right next to each
people
other.
just jump millions and billions of dollars into these industries.
Some people build big, lifted, beautiful trucks that could probably drive over other cars just to put them on a trailer, take them to a place, show them, take them back in hundreds of thousands of dollars into trucks that never leave the pavement or a trailer.
It's like SEMA.
Yeah.
That's why I like SEMA, dude. I had a great time. I went to SEMA once when I was at MAP, and we like rented a mansion, and it was fun. It's a party in SEMA. You go out, you drink, you do all the fun SEMA stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You hurt the next day, every day.
Yeah.
But like PRI is like, oh, this is what, when you're an actual enthusiast and you're passionate about motorsport, regardless of what it is, you're walking around, you see like a billet turbo, like some big billet turbo that's got like 180 millimeter compressor wheel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they have these like pulling tractor turbos. They're like this big. It's like, I didn't even know this was a thing. You know, like a tractor pulling tractor. Like, I don't know if you guys ever go to like some of the wild ones. They do the one right down the road here. And some of those run 300 PSI a boost. 300 compound turbo PSI on like a billet block in an international tractor. It's like, you understand that turbocharger's like $25,000.
And if you walk by that inlet, you're getting sucked in and blown up.
God, yeah.
It's gnarly. Like I remember, like we were looking at the cutaways. Like ProCharger had like one of their blowers.
That's right where I walked in. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like literally the size of your Beadlocks over here. Like, dude, it's huge.
And they're crank driven.
Yeah.
Like you got to think, okay, it's cool. This ProCharger is crank driven. The crankshaft to drive that ProCharger,
Yeah.
like that's a $8,000 crank. Yeah. Like it's nuts. And those things take 300 horsepower to spin them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like it's mental. They're absolutely crazy.
It's so cool. I can't wait to go back there. I'm excited for that one.
PRI, dude. Yeah, I think we're gonna try and make it down again too. We'll have to link up down there, but yeah.
Well, it's like you were saying, like you have all these different niches. Like for example, like over there we had the Fanatec Challenge going on with the GT4 cars or GT3, whatever Mercedes. Then you have this crazy off-roading thing. I don't even know what it was, but you know what I'm talking about. Those crazy, like it was literally like this without the body. And then you have right next to him some pro mod, and it's just such a diverse environment.
Yeah.
So I'm really stoked for that one.
It's so cool, man, and it's a fun party down there too.
It's good. Yeah.
It's just Indianapolis is a cool place. Like it's fun.
We were deathly ill when we went, but we didn't get to party too
Oh,
hard.
dude, that was like top 3 sickest I ever was.
Really?
Dude, it was rough. You listen to the episodes from that one, episode 59 and 60. Like, I had one of my friends tell me, like, I didn't even know it was you. I thought it was like some other podcast.
Oh, man.
Like, I was that sick.
I probably sound a little scratchy right now, but
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. But so you mentioned something about not doing beadlocks. Is that just kind of clarify on that?
Beadlocks suck for street cars.
Okay, but for like your instance, if you're actually off-roading, it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, but some days I just don't want to put air in my tires.
Okay.
But it's like when I run this thing at 4 to 8 pounds of air when I'm off-roading it.
Yeah.
Like these tires like just squish out, and like if you don't have a beadlock, you are going to lose a bead. So
That makes sense.
it's like I don't know. There's levels to everything.
Okay. Okay, so I'm glad you bring that up then. What is 100,000? You mentioned you have about 10 grand into this. What's $100,000 build look like?
That's relative. Like
Okay.
So if you're one of those drop it at the shop and let somebody else handle it guys, like there's different levels to it, right? Because if you're a home build fabricator, like 100 grand gets you a lot wilder setup than a guy who's dropping 100 grand and dropping it off at the fab shop or dropping it off at the our shop. Like if you drop off a car here, like we're building it, our labor is factored in, but like you can get a Jeep that's gonna go do anything. You drive a Jeep anywhere in the country and crawl some of the gnarliest stuff in the whole United States for 100 grand. Like you'll have a Jeep that is like insane capable, but it all depends on like what you're into and what you do with it.
Do you sorry, context. What's it called? Is there any Jeep trims that you recommend to people? Like if somebody were to go buy one right now, do you want them getting a base model or would you rather they come bring a Rubicon to you guys?
It depends on what you want to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to go buy like crate axles and go full tilt,
Okay.
put an Atlas transfer case, right? The Atlas transfer case, $4,500. Those are like bomb-proof 4-to-1 reduction aftermarket cases. If you're looking to buy something out of the box and dump, you spend an extra 10 grand for the Rubicon, but you're going to get Dana 44s. You can do like a nice 37-inch tire without worrying about shattering axles all the time. Like, it just depends on what you're going to do with it. I love when people call me before they go buy stuff, because that's the way to do it. Like, don't buy an expensive trim option if you're just going to throw all the factory stuff in the garbage regardless of the situation.
Right.
So,
Well, it's like race car stuff too, right? You build it for, there's different aspects of off-roading, right? If you want to rock crawl, if you want to mud, I mean, if you want to, there's God, what the hell? Why am I spacing on it? When I want to drive fast over bumps and shit, like some of the Raptors and stuff can do.
like
What's
trophy
that?
trucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Pre-runners and
Yeah,
stuff.
pre-runners, things like that. Yeah.
That's what I
So
wanna
there's
do.
like different. You're gonna build the truck to whatever you're wanting to go do most, right?
Exactly. And that's, it depends on where you set your heart.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Actually, that brings up a funny point. I'm looking into getting into pro spec trophy or short course trucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lateral move from where I was in drifting, finance wise. So those are the ones they race at, like ERX,
Oh,
like
okay.
circuit trucks. And they're big LS3s or the G-Force dog box. And those, you're not consuming tires, you're consuming body panels. You're consuming, you're consuming bent control arms and stuff
Yeah.
like that, because it's just full contact, wheel to wheel, high speed truck racing.
And what kind is that called again?
They have like the Pro 2, Pro 4, Pro Spec trucks.
There's a name for it, and I don't know why
Short
I can't. Well, the Bronco Wild.
You're talking about like the $400,000 factory Bronco,
No, the $400,000
the
factory
Ultra,
Bronco.
like Ultra 4.
No, fuck, I can't. I don't know why I'm spacing on it. Well,
We'll be right back.
As soon as we kill the cameras, I'll think of
Do
it.
the
But
song, the little doot, doot, doot.
yeah. But anyway,
We'll wait.
no, we're not waiting. Yeah.
Yeah, the cricket will keep us busy while we wait.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, that's our
Dude's going to
audience.
town out
Yeah, it
there.
is. It must be mating season. I got one in my house right now too. That's going nuts.
Dude, we come in here, you can't, you have to turn the music all the way up to work, because you're like, I'm going to find this cricket.
What are your thoughts on these condos out here? Because this is the new ones. What are they called again?
Troy Garage Condos.
What do you get? You like them?
I love it.
Okay.
It's
Is
like
the community
good
good
space.
out
Yeah,
here?
so we actually have 2 units here.
Okay.
So you can see the wall down the middle.
Gotcha. These
So
are
we
pretty
actually
high
not
ceilings.
they just left this wall out for us. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're really nice. Good space. We like, they come empty. They come with the bathroom, but no AC. They have in-floor heat, but you have to get the floors coated and do all that stuff. And Adam
Not
had
bad.
already done all that stuff before I got here. But
Sounds like his problem.
and
All
I
right,
mean,
and
it's
I'm here-
expensive, but it's relative. Like
Yeah.
if you rent one of these, like the owner will like generally pay you back for the money you put in. If you want to leave your unit with your lift in it, he'll buy the lift from you.
Oh, that's
it
good.
provides value on the next step, you know.
I'll get this bad boy a little closer. You're drifting on me.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm,
Yeah, I
I'm
think
rolling
it's
my chair.
A pre-runner is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Right?
rear runners are super cool, man. You're talking big swing set steering. You got like long trailing arms, 24 inches plus of travel. Like
Yeah.
they're so cool.
You're running off-road course at like 80 miles an hour,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
You ever see those? Yeah, they have this area out down in the desert, just outside of Vegas. I forget what it's called. It's kind of a weird town, but they have they'll go out with helicopters or chase trucks there's one paved road, and they have a pre-runner course next to it. They're going like 100 miles an hour flat on the road, and these trophy trucks are just eating bumps, just like
Just Mad Max.
insane. They got like 8-to-1 headers, like they sound like nutty. They're the cool. It's some of the coolest videos I'll watch. I'll literally just turn on a compilation of those videos on YouTube and go, huh? Like drooling at it all day long, you know. But
So, like, are you guys capable of building something like that here too? Then, or are you?
we have, so Kyle Nelson, the co-founder of Map, he's one of the most talented fabricators I've ever known, and like he can build something like that.
Okay.
We bring a lot of work to him. Kyle's one of our great friends. Me and Adam both, like we're tight, and Kyle can build anything. He just built a 1-ton swapped H3, like with radius arms and coilovers, using Super Duty axles and hydraulic steering, and like it's an H3 Hummer with a 5.3 and a 6-speed auto in it. And like Kyle does that kind of fab work. We do more like the kind of, in this building specifically, we do like the more bolt-on.
Okay.
Yeah, like the more general public builds. A lot of those trucks, like those trophy trucks, you're talking guys will spend $500,000 to $750,000 on them, and you're taking it to Kibby Tech, you know, like down in Vegas, and they're gonna build you a truck that's like got suede headliner, but you can go through bumps at 130 miles an hour with it. Like, that's just flex stuff, though.
What does competition look like in this space? Like, I mean, not like business-wise, but actually competing. Is there competing? Like, is there anybody that could like have a
Get
Cayenne
over the
built?
hill prettier than the other guy.
Yeah, like if I built a
Yeah.
Cayenne, can I go compete in anything with it or not really?
I guess I don't really think so. I don't know. There's like rock crawlers. So we have, it's called Rock Rash. That's like an event where you scored based on how many times you back up. That's up in Gilbert at the Iron Range up there. So with like Rock Rash, they score you on if you back up, if you hit a cone. It's scored like, I don't know if you guys know what motorcycle trials is. You ever seen the bikes that don't have a seat? That did like jump up big crazy walls and they like hop around on rocks on the back tire.
Oh, I've seen.
Sorry,
him
we're
go-
dipping into the motorcycle world
Yeah.
now. That's like, so it's scored similar. It's scored like golf.
Okay.
When you make a correction, you pick up a point, and then you get like a maximum amount of points at some point. And that's the contest. But you're not going to do Rock Rash with a Cayenne. Like Rock Rash has a name for a reason. Rock Rash is violent on all vehicles. They use those big rock buggies and tube chassis stuff. And
Do you see much diesel stuff out there? Like if I want to take my 6.7 Super Duty out and go do that shit, because it's got big old axles in it. And,
Super Duties have the best axles.
Yeah, I know that they use them a lot in a lot of stuff.
That is the market for Dana 60 now.
I have a locking rear diff. I got low range. Like
they're robust.
Yeah.
Super Duties are awesome because you can put a coilover kit, a Heim joint radius arm kit on them. Like we can do that work here.
Yeah.
You put 40s on that thing, some tube bumpers and bolt-in rock sliders, and you can go rock crawl a friggin' brand new F350. Like it's pretty wild that you can do that stuff.
Okay. I guess I know how my truck's gonna retire.
Yeah. I've been looking at regular cab short or long beds.
Yeah.
Like with the 6.2 or even the 6.7s because I think they look sick on 40s. Like
Yeah.
40s, beadlocks, coilovers, and those things will pull a big 4 foot of flex.
I have 35s on mine because I'm still got to use it for like normal shit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's,
I understand.
Yeah. Would you guys build a mall crawler if somebody wanted to come in here and be like, yeah,
I don't expect anybody to do the things that we do to vehicles.
yeah, okay,
We love to build vehicles that are going to be like stout, robust, will do the job if you want them to. Mm-hmm. But I don't sit here and like judge people because they don't want to go hit some crazy stuff and like total out their new Tacoma.
right.
I
Like,
could
that's-
never do that.
No, exactly. But like some people want to have they want something they can drive every day. It
And
looks
looks cool.
cool and they're proud of it. Like
Yeah.
you got something like, yeah, you might get the guy that wants a roof tent. Like, yeah, I'm going to camp one time a year with it. But like, it's cool. Spend your money on what you want, dude.
Do you guys install stuff like that too then?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
We do a full line of accessories. We do winches, recovery gear. We sell this company. It's called Moose Knuckle Off Road. They make sweet like billet anodized recovery points. So they do like powder coated shackles like I have on the front of this thing. And then they do like anodized purple, receivers for the back. Like we do like the pretty dress up parts too. But everything we do will work.
Do you have a go-to winch that you?
The old Harbor Freight, buddy.
I
Big
have an
dog.
Apex Predator, or is it a Predator? No, that's Predator. That's my freaking
Badland.
generator. No,
The Badland
the Badlands
winch.
Apex.
Oh,
I have the
yeah.
12,000 pound on my trailer, and I have one in the front of my dad's truck. It's freaking awesome.
They're like, there's no reason to spend more money.
Yeah.
Like, why?
You could catch it when you get the little coupon in the mail. They're like you can get it almost right around $500.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the track club. I got the Harbor Freight.
Oh,
man.
so do I.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I get the 20% off coupon. Go run it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this winch I paid $300 for this, and this thing will pull the front of this. It'll pull this truck off the ground straight up.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm not like our motto here, like with ORE, is like we want to break the whatever's cheapest mindset.
Yeah.
So we sell high quality products. We do like general camping and adventure too. So we're actually we're getting ready to launch our site here, if not this week, next. We're going to sell tents and Benchmade knives, and we're going to sell high-end cookware for camping and adventure stuff.
Just the
So,
whole kit sort of
Yeah,
deal.
so you can come in here and be like, dude, I want an ARB, refrigerator. They make these slide out refrigerators that you mount in the back of your SUV. Like you can come here and do that whole thing. And you want to just go camp. Some people don't even want to go rock crawling, but like they want, a set of 33s and some cool Baja lights on the front so they can go see where they're setting up their campsite. Like
It's just cool.
It's cool. It looks cool. There's so many layers to it. We go to Rigs and Coffee at REI out in Bloomington. First Saturday every month they do. It's called Rigs and Coffee. So you get all these overland guys bring their rigs out and they pitch their tents up. And they like, it's kind of cool. If you want to get into the community and like learn, you go talk to people there and they're like, I was out here in this state park and they allow, like camping with a truck now. And like, they'll teach you information about that kind of stuff.
You said it's called REI?
REI, like
they're like a sports store. They do climbing gear.
Okay. That's
the big rock climbing wall right on 94?
Yeah. Okay, it just hit me. Yeah,
or 494, yeah. So that's
they
host it there
or something. Okay.
Yeah, they hosted there on the first Saturday of the month. And
gotcha. I might actually go to that because I don't go to the other first Saturday of the month show anymore. So that might be a cool one to check out. Actually,
it's neat. It's cool to just go see. You'll see like Tacomas, like done up Tacomas, and that's kind of our niche. That's what we're wanting to do.
Okay.
There's not a lot of off-road shops in the area too. There's a couple reputable shops, but like what we're doing is it's a little different.
Yeah. Is there something that you won't do that you would refer to on to other local shops then?
There's certain platforms that we just don't like have that much experience with, but like overall, I mean, we do domestic trucks, Porsches, G-Wagons, we'll do Toyotas, we'll do just about anything.
But is there anything
we don't get into old stuff?
Okay.
We like to keep modern vehicles, and I know that's funny. This is my personal toy.
Right.
But generally we're staying north of 03. Like if you bring me an old Land Cruiser, if it's a nice Land Cruiser, we'll build you an old 80 series Land Cruiser. But if it's a Minnesota truck and brake lines are falling out of it and stuff, like we don't like to get into the real hard in-depth stuff unless you get the blank check. And like that's just the fact of the matters. People will do that, and we have done it, but it's not always the easiest. Like you have to meet expectations. So
well, I can imagine that being difficult. It's like somebody brings like a rusty POS from the 80s or 90s. Like it's a lot more extra work.
Yeah.
And usually if they're not bringing I shouldn't say usually, but if they're not bringing the nicest of options, they're probably not bringing the blankest of checks either.
Right. And
that's my guess.
And I don't say that because like that sounds bad. Like as a business owner, you don't want to talk about like things like that too. And it's not meant to be a bad thing. It's just like
you have your specialty.
Yeah, we have our specialties. We have our niche, like our specific market that we kind of go for, and we can always get great referrals too. If it's something that we don't like, if we didn't feel comfortable doing it, which honestly we have a great fleet, especially with Kyle being a top-notch fabricator, we can do just about anything. But it has to be, you got to meet goals, and a lot of that comes from we sit down with people and we go through, what's your goal? Where do you see yourself? What kind of terrains do you want to do? How long do you want to spend? 3 days at a time off grid, or do you want to spend 10 days off grid? We do commission builds. So we'll find you a truck and we'll ship it in a truck. That's the manual Cayenne that just left. That truck we found in California, shipped it here, had the body work done. And then this dude's like, we're doing bumpers, roof rack, tent, like wheels, tires, the whole thing. And he comes and picks up a final product too. So,
well, I think that's something, again, I'm not sure how much business experience you have, but after talking to Adam like a handful of times, like that is something that you want to be aware of, right? Like when you cater to everyone, you're catering to no one. Because now all your builds take too long because you're constantly trying to figure out like, I'm trying to learn this new platform.
Yep.
Keep it to, granted, you have a lot of different platforms you do.
Yeah, but keep it to what you know.
Right.
What you know well, and then be the best at it.
Yeah.
And if you can focus your time on being the best, and that's like TCP, Carl. I love, shout out to Carl. Carl's a great, awesome human being. Me and him worked together for many years. He's the owner of Twin Cities Performance.
Yep.
Like premier LS and Gen 5 LT tuning building shop. And that's where I worked for 3 years, and like that's it. We didn't tune anything else. We didn't build anything else. LS and Gen 5 LT, period.
Well, if you're constantly learning, you're not executing. That's just what that's just the reality of it. If you're trying to learn Toyotas at the same time as doing Coyotes, then it's a time suck.
Yep.
Well, you probably don't have to dip, at least when you're doing off-road stuff, like suspension geometry and suspension setups are pretty similar across the board, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some off-the-wall shit that does some really crazy, but
generally speaking, yes.
Yeah, right? So as long as you're not like touching drivetrains and doing all that kind of stuff, it should be pretty cut and paste across. It's whether you can get the parts, I suppose, is the biggest
It's
deal.
how you get the parts, how you install the parts,
Yeah.
and the parts that you use.
Yeah.
Like, it's quality, knowing the good brands, knowing, like, we run what we've used. You know, like, I can defend, like, a Bilstein suspension kit because I've used Bilstein. Or I can do cambered control arms because I've had X brand break or fail a ball joint at X miles. You know, like, it's when you go out and test your products and you can give good referrals, like, that's a lot of it too.
Yeah.
Giving stuff that you're confident you believe in, because that's, people want sound advice.
Well, that and there,
like,
you got to stand behind your build, right? So you don't want to
Right.
put on janky stuff and then have them be back here a week later.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
like I say, we're trying to break the whatever's cheapest mindset. It's like, when you buy the cheapest stuff, like, we don't want you to have to deal with that.
Yep.
Like, we'd rather refer you or work with you to get to where it should be, you know? So,
Buy once, cry once sort of deal.
yes. Buy once, cry a lot of times. I'm good at cry. I'm just out of tears these days.
You guys do side-by-sides and stuff too if people bring them
We
in?
do sell side-by-side parts.
Okay.
I do not build side-by-sides at the moment.
Okay.
I know the side-by-side industry is huge.
Yeah.
That's one of those things, though. I have great referrals in the area for side-by-side people. So, like,
Okay.
I can send you the best in the game, just because, like, who I know, what I've seen tested, and
Yep.
who I've heard good, reputable things about. So we do sell parts. I'd sell, like, a lot of, like, Baja designs, lights, and, you know, we do kind of cool parts like that, control arm stuff, but we're not going to push working on them quite yet until we have a little more space. We're kind of tapped on space here already. So
Okay. Yeah, because once you say I build side-by-sides, there are going to be 15 of them out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
but side-by-sides are another thing. You get
Yeah.
into, like, a 2015 Razor at this point. It's like, this thing is a dinosaur.
Yeah.
You know, the tech evolves so fast in that industry. I knew a couple of lead engineers at Polaris, and, like, every year is just, like, completely redo everything.
Yeah.
Like,
They're basically Jeeps or trucks now at this point, and they're $30,000-$40,000 now too.
yeah,
so,
you got Pro R's, what, $54,000? Like, dude,
Yeah.
like, if I had one of those, I'd have to live in Moab. You can drive a side-by-side on the road in Moab, like, as a car, you know? But, like, around here, it's like, what are you going to do with that thing? You're going to sit here and, like, look at it. I had an R-Max, a Yamaha.
Yeah. I'm a huge Yamaha guy.
I love Yamaha.
yeah.
I grew up on Yamahas. And
My dad has a R-Max, and then I have a Viking because I have 4 kids, so it's a
Okay.
6-seater. But 700 single-cylinder, just a tried-and-true, bulletproof,
just robust.
off-road minivan. Yeah.
Yep, off-road corral, dude.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere you want to go with the family, and that's cool.
Yep.
I'm just thinking about how many people we're ruining financially with all this such wide variety we have on this podcast.
I know, right? It's ruining me financially because I go in and, like I said, I go shopping right afterwards.
Dude, I hate money.
Yeah.
Like,
You get
I'll
into
die on that hill.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate money. But like I said before, it's like, I don't want to be pissed if I die. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
keep
right?
having fun, dude.
That's
and there's
kinda-
so many cool things. Like, if you lean on the right people, no matter what, you ask the right people the right questions. Find good people in the market, industry, wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Talk to them, and, like, dude, yeah, I don't know. It's always worth it.
Nobody's ever gotten into any of this stuff that we have on this podcast. Like, if you're into cars, motorsports in general, you're not making money at it. It's not a thing. It's a passion. You're having a good time. You just
Yeah.
like the smell of burnt gasoline and
That's my favorite saying.
Yeah.
Is like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard. I said this all the time drifting. Is like, to make $1 million in racing, you start with 2.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah,
you just burn money. I mean, shovel it into the fire.
Yeah.
But, like, it's all relative.
but you're smiling ear to ear.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
if you're having a good time,
Yeah.
just live within your means, but go out and have a good time.
Well, you're smiling ear to ear when your shit works.
Yeah,
Because that's another problem with this whole and all of it, any of it.
yeah, that's true.
Shit breaks. It happens.
Shit breaks. That does
Yeah.
suck, but at the end of the day, it's your outlook and how you perceive it. And, like,
Yeah.
if you let it be something that kicks you down, then change it up.
Right.
Try not doing that. Try and look at it in a positive light and look at, like, oh man, like when I blew my clutch apart at Gridlife in the D36, I was like, I can't drift. That sucks. But I can go listen to Taking Back Sunday with Chelsea Denofa at the concert. You know, you go, like, just have fun. Do whatever
Yeah.
you're gonna do.
That's such a cool, like, another way to just experience things. It's like, all right, my shit's fucked.
Yeah.
Go join someone else.
You save money.
Yeah.
go ride with somebody else. Go,
It
like,
takes a little stress off you too, because now I
Yeah.
can relax. I was worried about my shit broken. It broke.
Yeah.
We're past that point now. Here we go.
and at the end of the day, if you could like just go find every aspect of what you do and just completely immerse yourself in it.
Yeah.
Go find it all the way from the bottom up. Go get a freaking corn dog. You know, if you had an event and your car breaks, go try the corn dogs out. Yeah. Go get the stinky egg rolls at Proving Grounds, like North Star Speed Summit. You know, they got good egg rolls when your car's broken.
I've been wanting to hit up that Taiwan on truck every time I've been there.
Dude.
I haven't have a chance to.
Yes.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
All right.
Okay.
Damn it.
Have a couple twisted teas and some of that, and good little, you're right in the pocket.
Well, we've noticed there's a lot of people that come to spectate. Like I've camped. I think every time I've been to any event at BIR, the people next to me didn't bring a car, didn't bring anything. They're just there to like hang out,
Dude.
Hang out at the wheelie bar, watch this shit, drink a put
It's
a
so
cooler
fun.
of beer in your golf cart and ride around, man.
It's fun to do it. I'm doing that this weekend. I'm going up Saturday for the day. I don't have a car anymore. I'm bringing my enduro bike, my Husky. I'm just gonna put around and go say hi to old faces. Like, oh man, I'm excited to do that. But yeah, it was always fun. Like I say, when you got those people there and you're like, hey, jump in, let's go for a rip. You know?
Yeah.
Oh god, it's so cool.
I was gonna go this weekend, but it messed up. I messed up my schedule, and it's actually during Heydays, which is another
Heydays is fun.
big deal for me. So
I love Heydays, man. I've been there a couple times.
well, I have swap spaces, so I camp all weekend.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I'm bringing out. I've got a couple sleds, some four wheelers, all that shit, and you can't.
Want to go
so
sell
if
a Harley for me?
dude, if you got it, bring it up to my house in Hudson. I'll haul it out to Heydays.
I have to kick that around.
Yeah, it's I'm just really into that part of it too. Snowmobiles, dirt bikes, four wheelers, all that kind
Power
of shit.
sports.
Yeah, right.
It's a fun world, man.
Yeah.
It's a completely different than this or
It
this
is.
or drifting. It's like it's its own weird market.
Yeah.
There's
I
so
love-
many hobbies in this garage.
dude. Yeah. No, that's the thing. Like my Harley, I built a Dyna. It got second place at the Donnie Smith like motorcycle show at the
Oh, really?
XL over the winter, and I do wheelies on it down the highway on closed courses.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, nobody heard that. No, but it's like that. I don't know. It's fun, just doing fun.
The last 10
Yeah.
seconds to you were brought to you by AI.
Yeah.
Well, I have swap spaces there, and if you stay till 3:00 on Sunday, you get those automatically again for next year, and they're like unobtainium right now. Like nobody can
Really?
get the spaces, so I'm locked into this now until I'm gonna have to leave those spots to my kids.
Dude, 3:00 on a Sunday isn't too bad.
No, it's not bad. I don't care.
After PG, like noon on a Sunday after Proving Grounds.
Yeah, you're done.
You know that feeling where you like you get home and you look at your shower and you're like, brother, I missed you. You're like, is that water? Do I have water in my fridge? Oh, I'd love a little water. That'd be great.
Well, as we wind down here, I am curious. What are obviously with drifting, you have a ton of consumables, right? Especially with tires, right? What are some consumables on the off-roading side?
Consumables you travel, I'd say.
Really?
You build
And
a
that's it?
bus. Yeah, I mean like this truck's been together for a year now. A full year. And I nut and bolt it frequently. Like I tighten stuff up. It loosens up. I mean, you see like it when you're working it out. Flexing the suspension out, it wears stuff out. You're gonna get that. You're gonna, might pop a tire on a stick or something. You might put a hole right through a tire. When you're on the trail, like you could get a brand new set of tires for your Tacoma and punch a hole in it.
Yeah.
But most of the time is like when you're really out doing it, your consumables are going to be the travel time, the hotels or the camping gear, food, stuff like that. Like we'll go out for a trip and you cooking steaks on the side of the trail and whatever else. Like that's where I'd say it is. But again, this is the cheapest hobby I've had in a long time. And when you get out in the woods, for me anyway, being in the woods is a complete, like it just makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get your tires rolling down dirt and like all your problems fall away. Like it's fun.
I think it also helps if you don't have something that's like brand spanking new. Like, oh, I scratched the paint on my brand new Jeep, sort of deal.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like I said way back in the start of it is like the less you care, the happier and more immersed you can become with something.
Yeah.
It's like Jack Nicholson said, the less you give a F, the happier you'll be. Is like, it's true. Stop caring so much and go out and start living. And like, you're going to have a great time no matter what. Sorry, I probably sound like a philosopher on this.
No, it's
Trust me, listen to
it's just-
episode 100.
It's just I don't know, perspective for me. Like drifting changed my life. It brought me out. I was an introvert. Like I didn't talk to anybody. Like drifting brought me into a different place in my life. It brought me to my job, my career now. Starting a company like rock crawling is like, you get out in the woods with your boys and like, you know, you just watch a sunset go down over the Rockies on top of some mountains. It's like, not a lot of people get to do this. And I will always sit and I will tell people, trust me, the money isn't that important. Just go do it and find it. And then when you do it, you're like, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah. Well, it's always great too when you didn't have to walk up that mountain, right? Like some people hike those
absolutely.
mountains. That's
Yeah.
one of the greatest things I like about snowmobiling. In the wintertime, like even some national parks, they'll just shut it down, but they keep the trails open for snowmobilers. I've been to the top of a mountain in like Lake of the Clouds in the UP. You can snowmobile right up there, and in the top of the mountain, there's just this lake, like up there. It's crazy.
It's so cool. But like that's things like you can't get to it unless you got what it takes.
Yeah.
Like my best friend in the whole world, Sam. Well, I got a couple real tight buddies. Kyle and Sam is my friend. He went with me to Moab a couple months ago, but like he has an 03 4Runner with 33s only. It's not even lifted. Like it is a stock 03 base SR5 4Runner. And he takes that thing everywhere we go. Like carelessly.
Yeah.
He's like a little more bold in strategy than I'd be, but like dude, like you don't need much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, people get so comfortable and they don't want to break comfort. Like you come out of your comfort zone and go try some of this stuff. Like, yeah, it's worth it. That's why I want 4-seat though. I love bringing people out.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be like, I need a rock crawler.
That's
my best friend, one of my good buddies, Marshall. You seen that TLE 36 at North Star Speed Summit?
I think so.
TLE
yeah.
36 sedan. It's my homie Marshall. He texted me about a month ago and he's like, dude, I just bought a Jeep and I want to go rock crawling with you because it looks really fun. And I was like, you bought a Jeep? He sends me a video on Snap of him with this Jeep. And I was like, sick. Like he just did that. And then we went out rock crawling. He's like, this is crazy. I don't even like drifting anymore.
It's weird when you switch from hobbies, man. Like you drifting to off-roading or like some
Yeah.
people. It just there's so many different aspects to this, man. It's cool to see.
You went from fast and sideways to slow and upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's been upside down drifting too. Come
Yeah.
on.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I guess. Sorry.
But then, yeah, like I rode like motorcycles. I've ridden like high level enduro and trials my whole life and doing wheelies on Harleys and stuff. Like I live a little wilder than some people. I just like having I don't know, wild life is fun.
Yeah.
It's fun living a little close to the edge. I'm an adrenaline junkie though. Like it's cool.
On that note, Dan, do you want to pop the usual 3? This is gonna be a fucking wild one.
Yeah. I can't even guess.
I can't get it. Yeah.
All right. So at the end of every episode, we like to ask our guests to pick 3 cars. You have an unlimited budget, build, swap, whatever you want.
Okay.
We need a track car, a show car, and a daily driver.
Oh, huh. Daily driver. Oh man. A Koenigsegg Agera, for sure.
Yeah.
Like an Agera R. I'd daily one of those. I'll put some Pilot Sport or some.
You fucking drift guys. You know who else we had? Episode 41. It was Jacob Jorgensen. I mean, you may have seen he had an LS swap.
Yeah, he did a video of my car on the road course.
Oh, really?
At Carmageddon last year.
He also did a Koenigsegg
Full.
for a daily.
Dude. I mean, if it's just paper, right?
Right. Yeah.
I had a customer who had those stickers in his brand new Denali's. Like it's just paper. I was like, it's more than paper, but yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd do a Koenigsegg for a daily. Granted, I have to fit in it. I don't know. I haven't tried one out. Not that that's in the realm.
You could have it
anyway, but
stretched, get the roof up a little bit.
That's
Yeah,
true.
like
Like
Shaq did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's shacked out. Yeah. And then track car. I want to buy a HDK Eurofighter. Like the HDK Racing. They build like the crazy carbon Kevlar like Mark V Supras with like 980 wheel JZs in them and a
wow.
Samsona sequential. You can order like a fully built car. I think they're in Poland. And that's what I would do. Drift car. It's an it's like with James Dean and all the big time dudes drive in competition around the world.
What was it called again? HEG?
HGK.
HGK. Oh, sorry. Okay, gotcha.
Full carbon Kevlar, like crazy cars. But that's what I would buy for a track car. And then what's the last one?
Show car.
Show car. Man. That's a good question.
They
dude.
can
I
tick
probably do just like
all
a
the
real
boxes.
No,
handsome,
don't give one out.
just
yeah.
a
Let's see how
real
this goes.
a real handsome E36.
Yeah.
Like a nice E36 and some like BBS RKs. Just dumped, like slammed. Nice lightweight wing. I could do like E36 lightweight, I guess. I mean, if the budget's unlimited.
It took everything in me to not buy that black BMW that Adam was selling.
Yeah, that's
That
the
thing
license
was-
plate for it. The land yacht.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That thing was pretty
dude, that
sweet.
car. Oh,
Yeah.
I love a clean BMW.
Yeah.
That car was so good. We're tall boys. You can get in a 7 Series.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's like a couch. It had footrests in the back for the passengers.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you, 6'6"?
6'6", yeah.
Okay, it's just a hair taller than me.
You 6'5"?
6'4".
6'4", yeah.
Yeah, 6'3 3/4, but who's counting?
Yeah.
If anybody's trying to do my Wikipedia, round up.
Anything over 6 foot, man, you usually don't got to tell people.
Dude, whenever I sit in a Ford GT, it's like, don't
Oh
get
my God.
decapitated.
Dude,
Yeah.
GTs are so cool.
Yeah.
You ever drive a Viper?
I'm gonna be able to drive my first one here in the next week or two. It's yeah, I've never.
You sit in them like this. It's like the shifter's way out here. It's like you're almost like laying down in them. They're
Yeah,
very weird.
I need the seat lowering thing to fit in it comfortably if I
Yeah.
want to drive it, especially if I were to ever have a helmet in it. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna be able to drive my buddy's stock one here soon. So people know me for knowing a lot of Viper people. Nobody
Okay.
knows this guy. But yeah, no, I'm excited. That's gonna be. I've driven an ACR Extreme in a parking lot. That doesn't really count. The tunnels in those are so narrow, dude. Like
Yeah.
you need a driving shoe for that car.
Yeah.
It's so narrow.
Dude, do you have driving shoes and stuff?
I actually picked up my first pair today.
Nice.
that I got. Shout out to Lambo Dad. He gave me. He got me a pair.
Nice.
So yeah, it was. I worked out a deal. He's like, I don't use them. I'm like, all right, cool.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I have a full like suit Hans device. I have a full carbon pyrotech.
Yeah.
Like when I did drifting, I was fully certified for Formula Drift Pro Spec.
Really, that's cool.
Like, do
Who's somebody
driving
we should
shoes?
get on?
Like when you get out of your car with driving shoes, you like, yep.
We stopped for ice cream at Selma's here just south of town.
That's right. My
and-
house is right there.
That's
right
where I got
over
my
there.
first
Oh,
ticket.
really?
My
Okay.
house is like 2 miles from Selma's.
And some old guy, first of all, there's some nice twisty roads there, right? I was behind him with my GT500. He was driving the speed limit in his C8. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. I was not having a good time. And then all of a sudden, I get around him eventually, and I get to Selma's, and he shows up like maybe 20 minutes later, and he gets out old as hell with driving shoes on. And I'm like, dude, come on. If you're going to wear them shoes,
Yeah, you
then
better
drive it.
You better get a heavier foot, my
Yeah.
boy. Oh my god. No, it was always fun. Like I used to walk around on the paddock. You'd have your suit tied halfway down. You're like, God, I'm being way too legit right now.
Well, speaking of Selma's, that's literally where I got my first ticket. It was right around there. Somebody was driving the speed limit. It might have been 5 below, and I
Down
passed
there
them.
they go 5 below.
I went around
Yeah.
the left, and I looked over. I'm like, oh, there's no car or whatever. I'm like, all right, there's I check in my passenger seat. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking mash it, bro. And then literally step out. Oh, there's a car. No big deal. Let's step on it a little bit faster. Get back on the right. Whoop. It turned out it was a cop. He pulls me over, and I'm driving somebody else's car, and I look pretentious as fuck. Like it was rough.
Just that guy.
I'll show you. I'll show you a picture of the car I was driving. You'll be like,
Okay.
"Yeah, the cop hated you." It was pretentious.
Oh my god, that's funny.
But anyways, guys, like, yeah, I locked up my brakes and all this. I'm like, I should have asked him, like, show me. Like, let's go see the squeal marks, because like we had like a solid half mile before anything would have happened.
Yeah,
here.
and you're going 25 miles an hour there anyway. Like a normal speed, there's 25.
It was dumb. But okay, so I don't usually like to ask this question like on the show, but is there anybody that like you would recommend having on that just has done some really cool badass stuff?
Kyle Nelson,
Okay.
co-founder of Moab.
Noted.
Kyle is the most influential person I've ever met in my life. And he would be, I recommend him over anybody. I think you guys you're going to need to clear more than 2 hours for Kyle. He is,
That'll be a two-parter.
he built the record-holding DSMs. He built the record-holding Evos back in the day at MAP. He founded the DSM industry. Like, in my opinion, I think, like, Kyle, he has the original RX-7, the old MAP FD. He has it now again.
Really?
And like, dude, Kyle, I'll link you guys up.
All right.
I think that you would be very lucky to interview Kyle. He's a great dude. Yeah.
Wicked. Well, on that note, where can people find you?
Instagram. So ORE Offroad is our Instagram. My personal is Skidworks Kurt, that's my like drift Instagram thing. SKIDWERKS _ Kurt, and then ORE Offroad on Facebook, and I'm Kurt Thomas. I'll add people, or if you ever want to chit chat, I'm always down to help out. So
Yeah, that's very true. You got a very good energy about you. So that's
Thanks,
good. Yeah, gotta point it out. Dan?
You can find us at Gunnet Garage. Yeah, we're trying. 2 N's. Oh my God.
Always forget the 2 N's.
Yeah.
not Goonagar.
Yeah, right. I feel like that's the only way to spell it. So I don't know if I
Gunna,
have to.
I would have assumed 2 N's,
Yeah.
but I'm supposed to. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you it's 2 N's.
And then do you also want to shout out Adam as well?
Yeah, shout out to Adam, my business partner. He's awesome. We're doing some cool stuff, and I'd like keep an eye out. Definitely watch the socials. We got some cool builds coming up. If anybody ever has any questions or wants to come check it out or go off road and give me a shout, I'd be happy to share with what I know. So
Sweet. As for me, you guys are on this channel. Make sure to, I guess, check out the next episode. Thank you very much for listening, and see y'all next time.